I can't leave my son. I can't leave my son. So I broke her heart. Technically, twice. I say, who is that? Because at that time I had the phone. I look on her face, people, I could have seen she had blood clot eyed something. You could have seen something guilty on her fucking face. She had ample fucking time to tell me, say, yo, here what you do. Stay a blood clot for him, because I guess I'm going to meet somebody and he might work up papers to me, or I like him, whatever the case, and we're going to get married. You see, she did say that, people, you wouldn't be seeing this video now. I would have a YouTube channel. I'm going to the States right fucking now. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another vlog. Now, I know it's somewhat been a while, you know, even though it was 2 weeks past, but technically the last video you saw, that was done probably 2 to 3 weeks before I did the upload. You know, so technically it has been a little bit over a month since my last upload, you know. And in this past month, trust me, I'm gonna tell you, quite a bit has happened in this past month. But I won't be discussing this past month until, obviously, you know, a future date. Now today I will be discussing, I guess you can say, one of my biggest regrets when it comes to life lessons. Right? Now we'll be discussing a relationship that happened a little bit over 10 years ago. Right? And this is a female that I knew essentially for close to 20 years now. Right? But we weren't like close friends. We were Facebook friends, you know, but we never even really keep in contact via Facebook, but we were Facebook friends. How we reconnected was, we met up at a Christmas Eve all-white party, right? And when I went to that party, I saw her, and I remember thinking, yo, girl looks sexy, man. Girl looks sexy. Yeah, man, she looks sexy. And I remember thinking like, yo, Jano star. I'm in a relationship, so I'm not gonna really push her, but she look good. You see, after the party, and I'm gonna put it on me because I really don't remember, but as a man, I put it on me. I think probably I was the one that reached out to her after the all-white party, right? When I reached out to her, tell her, I say, yo, you know, long time we not see you and thing, and you know, you look good at the party. You know, probably something as basic as that. Now, in truth, I've always been attracted to her, right? But at the time, technically, I was in a relationship with my son's mother, right? She was actually pregnant with him at the time. Now, when I told her, like, yo, you look good, whatever, she was like, well, you did look fairly handsome too. You know, I should have a couple of pictures I can put up. I should have. I'm not sure, I have to check, but I should have a couple of pictures from that party where I probably will be able to put up, right? She was like, yo, you look nice yourself at the party too. You know, that triggered a conversation between us where she told me that, you know, to be honest, I've had a crush from you from essentially shortly after I met you back in the day, because she's one of my friends' in-laws, you know. Technically she would be one of my friend, is my friend brother's wife sister. So sister-in-law, I think it's sister-in-law, right? So what she would do is visit my community back in the day, like just to pass through, you know, the summer or Christmas and whatever, pass through a little bit. You know, but because me know what I say, you know, it kind of tricky when it comes to dealing with her, because as I say, me never want my friend feel like, you know what, me I run in on him in-law or whatever. Even though technically there's nothing wrong with that, I just say, you know what, I want them situation the way you shouldn't make a move, me never make a move. So we just admire her from afar. She essentially told me that she had a crush on me from them time there till now. You know, bear in mind, with quite a few females, me can usually pick up on the chemistry and the vibe, how they move around, whatever, to see if they're interested, right? With her, I guess technically we never really spend that much time around each other, so it would have been harder for me to pick up on that, but we never pick up on it even at the slightest. So she was very, very good at hiding it, right? She essentially told me that she had a crush on me from a long time, and you know, should have loved to see where it go. Now, technically, being brutally honest, I was in a relationship at the time. No, the relationship wasn't going very well. You know, so that's no secret. You know, so it wasn't a case where we were happy and we just go out and we forget with somebody else or anything like that. And as I said, by that point when we started communicating again, she had went back to the States because she has been a citizen of the States for probably over, well, probably close to 20 years now. You know, I've always wanted to live in the States. Not so much now with everything I'm going on, to be honest, but a teen to probably in my late 20s, I've always wanted to travel and live in the States. You know, especially after high school, I know I never do that well. I feel like, you know, I'm going to have a better chance in the States. She told me, she basically asked me, alright, you're in a relationship, because I was brutally honest with her. She knew that I was in a relationship and she knew that the person was pregnant. She asked me what is the exact status of the relationship. I tell her, I say, yo, now work, whatever, and you know, she was like, alright, you're a class. I like you this much that would actually get married to you if you get your papers and come up and be with me. Now, at the time I didn't have any visa. So she basically said to me, say, alright, here's what you can do. But I love you try out for your visa and get it, because if you try out for the visa and get it and come up the process way, be much smoother, much faster. Right? If you don't get the visa, I'll come out here and marry you. It's just that getting married in Jamaica and doing the filing, it's going to be a little bit longer. Right? It'll be way faster in the States. So that was the agreement. I said to her, I said, yo, I'm going to be honest. It's not best to push anything until after the baby is born, because we don't want to cause any undue stress to my son's mother. And then she got end up having a miscarriage or anything happen to the baby. Right? So she agreed, and we were slowly starting to get to know each other. Right? Initially we spoke probably daily. Well, nightly, because I think at the time, if my memory serves me correctly, she worked nights. It's either she worked nights or she came home very late. So I remember we were only able to talk, I think, like after 10, after 11 each night. Right? So we're there talking, you know, getting to know each other for a couple of months, you know, really just trying to get to know each other, and, you know, dislikes, likes, all them stuff, the personality. The more I spoke with her, the more I realized, yo, she's a very cool person, very down-to-earth person. You know, I say back in the States, she lived on her own. Because I say she has been there for a while, she kind of established herself a certain way. Right? The agreement was for her to come the following summer, if I try out for the visa and don't get it. Because I said all my party was Christmas Eve, December. So the following summer she was supposed to come here if I try for the visa and don't get it. Right?
We're really glad that you and this is a friendship that will never.
We're here.
You know, I pause because it's really in my top 5 of life's biggest regret. And the funny thing is, I spoke with both, well, a few family members and friends in terms of advising as to what to do. Because I was conflicted, and the reason why I was somewhat conflicted because if I had chosen to be with her, that would have meant I would have essentially leave my son shortly after I was born. Now, I can't sure if I've ever actually said this, but I didn't grow with a father. None at all. I come from somewhat a small family. I'm not really close with nobody in my family. So for the most part, I've been a loner. Even though I'm now even a bigger loner than back then. You know, which at this point, it don't even really bother me. My focus right now for just aim for my aspirations, get a job, and try to further my aspirations. You know, that's a different story, but that's my main aspiration of it. Throw everything in this, me YouTube, you know, and try to grow my content. My son was born in April, a couple of months technically before summer. A few months before he was born, I think it was like probably the February or so, I came clean with my son's mother. You know, obviously I didn't come clean initially because I didn't know what exactly the situation were, if we'd have a jail, if she did or whatever. So, you know, I watch the situation because the relationship between me and my son's mother was deteriorating. And that wasn't necessarily because I wanted it to, but that after me talking, because I'm the type of person where in a relationship, if I discover there's an issue, I try to deal with it from early. Pretty much all of my exes them can't tell you that. I don't make nothing fester. If I say there's a problem, deal with it right away. I make nothing fester. I ended up coming clean to her and tell her, I said, listen, I get an opportunity. At the time, I was doing security. But everybody knows security don't really pay that much. So, me getting an opportunity to go into the States would have not only better my life, but financially could have provide more for my son, and then obviously eventually I could have either send for him to visit or file for him directly. Right? I come clean. I say, you know what? I come clean, have a conversation with my son mother about everything. Ended up having a conversation with her. I'm not going to go too subtopic because this is not about her. But I just want you people to understand that it wasn't like me I try string both of them along or anything like that. I was honest with both. So I sit her down and tell her the situation. I say, listen, I get a very good opportunity from somebody that has had a crush on me for a long time. Right? And I get the opportunity to finally go into the States. She knew, my son's mother knew that I've always wanted to, but there is no way. People, she essentially broke down. Tears. She broke down in tears and she pleaded with me not to end the relationship. She pleaded with me that should actually try to make the relationship better. She got work on all of the problems that we had. Now, by this point, I had seen very little emotion certainly come on to her because I'm not gonna say she cool, but she want them when I really show emotions like that. We feel it and I know, but she don't really show emotions like that. And I'm gonna say she ended up breaking down in tears. She was like, yo, don't leave me, don't leave our son, we do anything to make the relationship work. Never expect her to say that. So right there and then, that put me in even a harder predicament and situation for really consider whether or not this is going to be a good situation to make that decision. As I say, you know, even before my son's mother, she knew the struggles that I've had. Right? Not doing well in school and suffering basically because I never come out with no subjects in the school. You know, I've lived an extremely hard life. But the thing is with me are one of them people that when you see me on the road, good, bad, indifferent, you're not going to know. I hold my own. No matter what I go through, I hold my own. So it's very hard for anybody at all to pick up whether or not I go through a very rough time in my life or I do okay. Very hard to pick up. I wasn't at my worst at that point, to be honest, I was not doing poorly. I was doing decent. I'm saying with the inner work, you know, my son mother, she did basically, I remember at the time, she would finish up school. I think she was probably finishing up school plus doing part-time work with our sister and brother-in-law. I don't remember, right? She pleaded with me and said, yo, you know, try my relationship work. Now, I didn't relay this part of the information to the female, right? Because I said at that time, I still never sure and I have to weigh my mind because I know say are two very big decisions. On one hand, stay in a relationship that falter a lot just to be with my son, or capitalize on one of my biggest opportunities, which I know many people get them type of opportunity here for not only a female like me enough to marry me, but you're willing to start out the paperwork and do everything for me. What ended up happening was she worked late, so for the fact that she worked late and we only could speak like hours throughout the night, almost every night, what ended up happening is at a point it became very difficult to come out of the house and talk to her on the phone. And the reason why I had to do that because at the time my son mother, they come I think like every weekend, right? Like every weekend. Yeah, every weekend. It got to the point where she got frustrated with me and come out of the house and I had a phone call with other females, which is understandable. You know, no female now comfortable with that. You know. The boiling point came with my son ended up being born premature. The culmination was she was here one night, and because of me coming out and having the phone call, she broke down. She just broke down in tears. Because I say, at the time I didn't, me, her, and I think my sister was living in the house at the time. So she broke down into tears, started stressing, and I guess technically she was kind of stressing, you know, before that. So I say it was like a culmination. She started stressing and had to be rushed to the hospital. By that time, me getting a panic because, you know, I never want my child to be born with any form of deficiencies because of the situation of me somewhat create, or even worse, something will happen with the child and, you know, you may not die. So when that happened, my mother and my sister, everybody started cuss me. Because it's ironic because my family side, females, they were giving me emotional advice. Which me not gonna say on some extent was wrong, but it wasn't the best decision by far. So they was like, yo, you never grow the father, you know, why you want to come out of your son's life and the same thing I'm to you want to do that to your son, whatever. On the flip side, I had a couple of friends that tell me, yo dog, you see you there at it suffer already. Zine, you see how you there suffer. Them opportunity here don't come very easy. I remember one specific friend, big up yourself room. He was in the States and the man got through hell to get film papers. And him got through before him get film papers, trust me. So I remember having a conversation with him specifically and he was like, yo dog, you don't even know say how goal you get, brother. Make the best of the opportunity there. You hear me I tell you? Make the best of that opportunity because very few people come across opportunities like that where they more have to pay the female. And I think at that time they look on probably $5,000 to $10,000 US for doing an arranged marriage. Right? And I was getting it essentially for free. So I was like, yo dog, capitalize on it. You see you there, you know, life rough for you, don't make the opportunity pass. So I was conflicted. She ended up giving birth, and the day my son was born, I'm gonna hold him in my hand, people. I swear it's like I forget everything but wanting to move to the States. The love what I feel for him, the first time I hold him in my hand, was like, yo brother, I don't know if it's gonna be the best decision, you know. The next couple of weeks after that, I'm saying it just part. The conversation between me and the other female got way less. Right? Which, as I say, the first couple of months after we spoke almost every night. She live alone, she never try to get with nobody. So for being a total different country, you know, I really wanted to be with somebody else. In her mind, the minimum I could have do is at least just talk to her for a little while every night. It moved from probably every other night. It moved from every other night to a few minutes whenever we do talk. And she got frustrated, which I couldn't blame her for. I ended up telling her, say, listen, I'll be brutally honest with you. I don't know if I can leave my son. And even though the relationship still not really go well with my son's mother, I really and truly want to try for his sake. I remember, even though it was over the phone, just her reaction and the things she said, I remember feeling like, yo, I just break her heart. I could have really hear the pain in her voice. Because I said we've been talking for months and we really got to know each other. You know, at the time I was doing night security work at the time. So when I was at work, we'd have talked for long periods of time. So even though technically we weren't in a relationship, we didn't really get to know each other slowly. So I know say me saying that to her, knowing say, yo, the girl started literally planning on me coming there and everything already. I look forward to it. I'm really disappointed and hurt her. And plus, as I say in my mind, like, yo, this is one of the best opportunities you ever get to move to the States. But against my better judgment, I made an emotional decision versus a logical decision. We know we are better now in terms of them stuff than, you know, come on to relationships and certain things. I don't really move emotional again. You know, I have even more of a harder stance now. The end of relationship. No. Prior to then. Even because of my last relationship, most of my relationships, any one of them can tell you. Most of them, and then someone may say, yo, I'm proud or like, I deliberately try to do it. But most of them are me end it. And the reason why is I've never had a scarcity mentality in our relationships where a female are going to bag a thing, but because me have sex or me I get sex, me I go put up with it. If you are going to fuck, me I go tell you. If you listen, me I go leave. I just saw me stay. Me I give you a chance and I go discuss the issue, but if I realize you're stagnant and you stay, so I'll leave. I've never had a problem being single. Never. So me in a relationship, if I say I go on foolishness, I go warn you, I discuss it because I say if we get to that point where we're in a relationship, obligated for you know, talk to you. If a friends with benefits, I don't give a shit what you want to do. That was one of the hardest decisions. Having to tell her, I say, yo, you know, I'm going to disappoint her and better scrap the whole thing. That was April, shortly after my son was born. I think it was in somewhere between the June, I think probably to the July of that same year. she reached out to me and made contact with me again. And she was like, you know, Claus, you see, over these past couple of months, I've not into any new relationship. I've not even tried to get with anybody. For the fact they tell me that the relationship was going sour from she pregnant, I was just hoping that, which I guess is not a good thing for my son and the mother, but obviously she's a female, she have to think about herself. She was hoping that the relationship was still on that part of not doing well. So she was like, yo Claus, a couple of months passed, I've not gotten with anybody else, I'm just still love to be with you if you want to. So that 2 consecutive times with me breaking her heart, she holding that heartbreak, and then reaching out to me again to give me a second chance. And I remember when she said that, I remember thinking, you know, my son born now and the relationship would have said probably half step better than it was. But I'm going to say, my focus was the love I have for my son. I'm going to say a couple months in, did I walk with my son a morning time, I feed my son, I bond with my son, it about get even harder. And I was like, yo, I can't leave my son. I can't leave my son. So I broke her heart. Technically, twice. You know, it's funny because I say this is one of my biggest regrets. Right? In my top 5. And the irony is another one that's in that same top 5. Another one that's in that same top 5 is me leaving in 2014 to go to the States for work. Right? When I left, started working, was staying with a friend, a couple of friends back and forth. Ended up getting even a job. The job that I got, big up PC Richards and Son, in a Connecticut. Believe it or not, that was one of the first jobs I ever did in my life where I was fully comfortable doing the job. Not only was I fully comfortable and relaxed, even though that was probably in a US standards one of the lowest paying jobs, it was enough for me to save a little bit, get a couple of stuff that I wanted, and send back money for my son. Throughout that time, as I say, the relationship was now over with this female, right? Throughout that time, I was trying to see how best I can either get with a female to try to get some for my marriage or work out something I can stay. Okay, I don't know when I stay and get the 6 months. It came to the crossroads where I was thinking, say, no, I'm just overstay and try to meet somebody and work out the thing that way. I was actually in talks with my bridging and a couple of females to see what was possible. I had a conversation with my son's mother. I'm going to get into this because I want to leave all of this for that video. But this kind of intertwined with the mistake. Had a conversation with her and was like, listen, I'm here, I'm working, and then other way to stay, and an appearance, and the only way for me to stay in the States legally is to get married to somebody. You know what she said to me? She said a couple of things. She was like, firstly, come back and then we line up a work for your sister, line up a job with my sister in Florida for you. Secondly, secondly, this female tell me say, she not believe in a them type of marriage. She have feelings or love the person she do that with. And basically threaten me. Say, if I do that, she might not see my son again. In 2014, I spent 1 day short. 1 day short or 6 months. Either 1 or 2 days short at the 6 months. And you know so that is not recommended. And that's because I say up to 2 weeks before I was conflicted. And it's ironic because the job that I was doing with PC Richards and Sons, I gave them a 2 weeks notice. And I remember when I gave them 2 weeks notice, nobody never wanted me to leave. They was like, yo, just stay bro, just stay, you know. You're one good worker, and everybody, as I say, like me working there. So I was in no threat of losing a job, not anything, none at all. I was in no threat for being homeless any attack. I'm saying I stayed in my brother in his house. So it was him, his mother, and his daughter. Right? And his brother. I was staying in the basement. I never have a problem with it. And now I could blow up bed, you know, go out work, come home, relax. I never have a problem. You know, I'm a simple person, I'm not fussy. Not even the people that worked wanted me to leave. So I was conflicted. Obviously, my final decision was to come back. Come back for work on a relationship at the time that was 3 years in, that would have problem literally from the second month of the relationship. But because she told me, say, yo, don't do that, just come back and get a work. You know what fuck up about this? Just throughout that entire period, and she tell me, say, yo, that's not a good idea and I shouldn't do that. I'm not going to say the entire period because I don't know exactly when it started. But sometime throughout that period, this girl that get to know one man in Florida. I came back October. I think it was like the 23rd or 24th, if my memory serves me. The 23rd or 24th of October, a few days before my birthday, in October. I'm just going to go up to December, then cut the story there, and then in the future, whenever we discuss that video, we'll elaborate more. I came back in October. People, the first day I meet up with this girl and my son, the first fucking day, I remember if we would go to the mall or somewhere. My mother came and we were going somewhere. And I remember feeling this uncomfortable and easy feeling in the back of the car with her. There was something different, but I couldn't really pinpoint it. There was something different about how she moved around me, everything. And I remember thinking, oh, this feels weird. I was like, alright, you know, I've been gone for a few months, whatever, you know, probably I just readjust to each other. Skip forward to December. She have him for the most part. So we had agreed that I'll keep him for the Christmas holidays. So went, pick him up, had him here. True story. I was sitting right here in this exact location because I would sit down and feed my son, you know, every evening and give him dinner or whatever. Typically, when he's with her, he want her to phone call me. When he's with me, he want me to phone call or video call her. Baby, you don't know him want both. He would ideally want both them parents together, but I think she was doing school. Or remember I think she was finishing up school, you know, back in Mandeville. Right? So she couldn't be here like that. Dede, he said I want to talk to her. You know, give him the phone, film video call him mother. They were there talking. And I try to give about the story as best as I can. They were there talking. And I was in the kitchen. He was in here. When I was in the kitchen, I remember him talking and them talk with each other. You know, him talk, she respond, vice versa, whatever. The conversation I run fluid. Now, I've never had trust issues with her. Right? But me want them man to pick up on certain things quick. So I'm dead and I talk to her. And remember, as I said, the conversation and flew, you know, people. Them a talk and him talk out her name. Now, she has friends, she has male friends, whatever. So be the case. That's a big deal. Why the radar went up was that through this flowing conversation, as he mentioned the person name, she freeze. When I say freeze, him did attack, she does not say nothing. So that in itself threw me off. Someone's like, yo, she just stopped talk. So I go around there to me son, because I heard the name. So I go around there and I call the name to my son. I say, who is that? Because at that time I had the phone. When I look on her face, people, I could have seen that she had blood clot eyed something. You could have seen something guilty on her fucking face. So I say, Josh, who is that? The name you just called. She says, mommy friend that promised me what? Candy or chocolate or something when he might come. Bear in mind, you know, at that time I'm more than 50% sure that this person is either not just a friend or something that escalate to be more than a friendship. So I take the phone and when I say next, I test me that test. I say I still never fully sure, but I say this is the way to test her quick. So I say to her, I say, so that's how you deal with it. You have your man them. I promise my son candy and them thing there. Now, if it was a case where it was a misunderstanding, her simple response would have been this. It's just a friend, when I know a foreign, and you know, I call him every now and again when Josh is around and him say would bring some sweetie for him. Her response wasn't that. You know what was her response? Why you have to say man them? It's just one person. So I say, I hope when I have my woman them, I bring him stuff in and say no. She said, well, I'm just one person. Me I talk about me, I don't know about you. Why you have to? And when she said that, people confirmed to me, say, oh, this girl either in a relationship or I get to know somebody. At the time, to my knowledge, he was in the States. To me get to understand, it was somebody that she knew from in a St. Thomas growing up. So somebody she knew a long time, but he migrated. This is one of the few conversations where my made hurt me. I said a hard spark of rage in my mind. She's one of the very few people who send a hard fucking spark of rage in my heart and mind. And I can say this now, and I'm going to say it in another future video there. One fucking person in my life, I can say, I'm going to hate. And yes, I know hate is a strong word. I'm going to hate till I'm fucking dead, and it's that female. Not even my son can get me to forgive this fucking female here. I'm going to hate her till my last breath. Short version of the story, people. By December, this girl had planned marriage with her brother. Think about everything I'm saying so far, you know. All the opportunities when I get, even a couple months before that, I have find and this blood clot girl convinced me, say, getting married to somebody without feelings, that I'm in a sense I would never do that, and if you do that, you might not be able to see your son again. I'm going to take the bait. Not because of her, not because I feel it's necessarily for her, but because of my son. You know the hurtful part about that, people? It's not necessarily that she meets somebody and they move on, you know. That would have been ideal. If I was there, she got married to somebody, get her papers and tore it up there, and all our life would have good. Mother there abroad, mother alright, shoulda there abroad, shoulda fucking alright. But she sacrificed my happiness. I'm gonna tell you why she sacrificed it. You see, at the time, she never know what gonna happen when I come back. So in her mind, she probably thinks, you know what, let me see if she's gonna fight for that relationship. And if you not fight for it, never back up anyways. She had ample fucking time to tell me, say, yo, here we do. Stay a blood clot for him, because I guess I'm gonna meet somebody and he might work up papers to me, or I like him, whatever the case, and we're gonna get married. You see, if she did say that, people, you wouldn't be seeing this video now. I would have a YouTube channel. I'm gonna the States right fucking now. But instead, almost 10 years, with this year being one of the worst and hardest fucking years of my life, I sacrifice everything for my son. Which none of them really understand it, but I'm gonna say it now. Because guess what? You see, even though I have the whole of that anger and the whole of that hatred of fear, I would never put a hand on her. If I'm dead tomorrow and I see her for the rest of my life, I'm good. If I'm dead on fire and she walk and she's the only person to save me, I'm going to burn up and dead. It hurt me to the core of my heart. Because the whole of it could have done alright. I'm sitting down and think about what my life could have been right now. She didn't have how much. Let me tell you this, she didn't have no idea some of the thoughts would have run through my head at that time. And only thing I think, you know, if I do any fuckery, that can affect my son for the rest of his life. And so because I'm innocent in all of this, one, I'm not going to put him through that. And two, I don't want to make an emotional decision when I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. So you know, unfortunately, and people might not agree with this, but you know what the unfortunate thing about all of this now is that, and me can be honest, because I say a lot of it dissipate the anger, because I say just thinking about it get me angry, but I don't think about it in a blood clot at all. Outside of this conversation now. Couldn't care fucking less. What hurt my heart is that at the time, the anger and blood clot rage when I feel, even if indirectly be around her, but I feel like I probably would have wanted something. So I had to make one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. And that was, you know what? The level of anger will vibrate in my whole body. I have to take some distance because my son tied to her. My son tied to her. And if any family, if people not even over phone me they want to talk to her. I never want to think about her, I never want to see her nothing. And unfortunately, and honestly at this point, I don't know if it was the best decision, but it was the best decision for me at the time. I say, you know what, class? Breeze the entire situation and that unfortunately include my son. Work on your anger instead of push this, because I know her mind, you know. I fuck up the whole of your blood clot life. I fuck up the situation with a girl a couple of years ago. But guess what? You still have your son. So be the best father you can be. Your son same way. I should even realize that my son save her. As I say, them thoughts there, way behind me, but my son save her. My chip lick. And that time I think say, yo, you know what, drop it there so. Drop it there so. Over 40 minutes now, I thought. This is going to be my longest video so far. I go through a lot of sufferation in my life. Now don't get me wrong, people. I was not perfect in the relationship. So I'm not here to say I'm perfect or claim perfection in the relationship. I made mistakes and I hurt our ass in the relationship. But guess what the difference with me? Would I never sabotage her life like that. I couldn't sabotage her life like that. Because guess what? She's very bright, so she do well in school. Her family quite alright, so she wouldn't be worrying about no job or anything like that. And even if she didn't get a job with them, I say she left school very educated, so she can go she could have go get a job easily. She knows say my life is extremely rough. She knows a whole heap of separation go through even prior to me meeting her. The girl knew this. And because I say she did things I'm gonna come back and fight for one relationship in a battle with the next man which me no blood clot know about. She said she never said nothing to me. She went as only thing she had said was if you want to come back, knowing say it's your decision. But at the time when she said that, she never told me that she had met somebody. That's all she did have to say. I meet somebody class. So knowing say in the States say you think about come back knowing say I meet somebody. That's all she had to say. My life would have different right now. My son's life would have different right now. You see, after everything transpired, people, it took me, I'd say, probably a couple of months to really cool off and stop having certain thoughts. The anger never necessarily go anywhere at that time, but certain thoughts somebody that have, they pretty much evaporate. She and my mother and my sister had never had a bad relationship. I'm going to tell you, say, down for my mother and my blood clot sister, this girl I take for fool people. Because I tell my mother and sister, listen, since you and I never have nothing, I want to keep in contact with her. Not knowing, say, this fucking girl here. Change her number, keep the old number for the WhatsApp. So every time my mother and my sister would call her, it would go straight to voice note. When them WhatsApp her, they would get through. And every time they say, oh, I try to call Derek and not get through. You know what the blood clot girl tell them, say? I'm busy, she busy. That's why some of the time when I call, them not get through. This girl that disrespect me on almost every fucking level. I'm gonna make it slide because I'm a son. And as much as it hurt me, as much as it fuck up my life, I don't regret staying upon that path of not doing anything to her. Because my number died that dead or they are prison. And my son would not have any parents. So all of them things they would have to say, you know what? As emotionally devastated as you is, as you are, you have to take it logical. Don't make your emotions ready to do something where you know say you're going to end up regret for the rest of your life. People, it is what it is. Those multiple opportunities when I get, the biggest opportunities when I get in my life, dissolve because of this girl. Now, for the female that I mentioned at the beginning, we're not keeping contact anymore. Ironically, she has a daughter, you know, she has a daughter. So, wish her all the best. No ill. I don't know exactly what she think about me. I think I tried to reach out to her earlier this year, but you know, she never really responded. But as I said, she probably go through for her own thing because at this point I could be wrong, but it seems like she's a single mother right now. Because last time I checked on Facebook, I never see she and the father and none of the she and her daughter. So whatever the case, it seems like she's a single mother. So who knows what she has got through. So when I try to reach out to her, just to check up see if she's alright. Because from she have a child, everything evaporated. So nothing can happen between me and her. Full stop. You see? So I just that checking because you know I know say, you know, she really try to help me back then, but I say it never really work out so well. But still a big her up same way. Big up yourself and wish you all the best. whenever I get, if life spare me should say, if I get for do that video there, I'm going to discuss about the good and the bad, the good when I do, the bad when I do. I say, I'm not perfect no time in my life, I make a whole heap of mistakes, people, whole heap of things I wish I could have changed, wish I could have go back and nobody do and all them stuff there. Even outside of her. So I'm not perfect, but I make mistakes, you know. I discuss some of them prior, I have a lot more to discuss some of my mistakes. So I'm not perfect. But I never deliberately try to ruin her life like how she end up doing mine. Some of even the separation I go through even this year, I'm going to say over this past month, in the future we discuss it. But until the next video, people, for whoever watch this in a pieces or watch it straight, I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate it. And as I say, if I never fail, all of me I go to money even the start of YouTube, because on the first videos when I started, people don't know say my personality was never like this. I'm more reserved. So me even coming out of my shell right now because I have to. I consider myself somewhat of a chameleon. I have to just adjust and adapt to any form of situation. I just saw the thing said. But as I say, people, big up on yourself, and until the next one, stay tuned.